or say war.
Hi guys, welcome back to the next episode of Road to a Million. This week we're going to focus on better bets, making it easier for you to win over wider possibilities. Before we get started on what exactly I mean, I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors, especially Tata's Hot Sauce. This stuff is amazing. I got the jerk rub, I got all the different hot sauces. I use them every day. It is amazing. Brings the flavor to my table. I tell you, this stuff, go get it while it's there. Supplies are limited. This guy makes fresh batches all the time, just about every day. Go and pick it up while it lasts. Taking a look at better bets, I went over in a previous episode some crazy bets on different types of teams that people didn't hear of, like women's volleyball, Southeast Asian floorball, things like that. And I specified why. We're going after the numbers, trying to pick the best bets in areas that we can find. A lot of people thought it was a little ridiculous going over all these sports, but to be honest, most of them worked out. I was following the Southeast Asian floorball, covered. I mean, sure, most people aren't going to follow that. In fact, I didn't watch the game because I don't know where to watch the game. But the spread covered. It's just a matter of taking the right odds. That being said, we're going to look this week at bad odds. Things that are going to make you lose, that you're going to buy into because that's the way society kind of wants you to play. Starting things off, we're going to look at the exploitations of the holidays. Come Christmas time, everyone's buying gifts. Prices are skyrocketing, but so is opportunity. With the lottery, you can buy scratch tickets. Okay, now I know scratch tickets aren't a serious way to gamble. However, it is something popular that a lot of people buy into. Going to the gas station, buying a $10 ticket with a chance to win 50 grand or $250,000 or whatever, it's fine. Have one or two of those. I'll admit, I buy scratch tickets every now and again. And to be honest, I come out okay. I don't think if I'm losing, it's not by that much. If I'm winning, it's not by that much. But you know what? Every now and again, it's good. It's fun. Buy into it. But when the holidays come around, it's a little bit different. What they do is they sell holiday packs. Now, a holiday pack is essentially a grouping of cards that they pre-bundle for you to give as like a stocking stuffer. Now, they might try and discount that, but the reason they're able to do it is because they know that not every single one in that pack is a winner. The winners that you get are $1, $2 scratch winners. And at that point, what's the point? If you're going to go into a scratch ticket, you got to have to win something big. $10 isn't a lot to spend. I say put that down on a regular bet if you have to. So if you're going to just place that on a regular bet, place it on a scratch card, your odds aren't as good, but I mean, at least you can win something. These $1, $2 winners, they don't have any opportunity. And you're actually guaranteeing yourself a loss on some cards. That doesn't make sense. Would you ever buy 5 of something knowing that 4 of those 5s are going to be losers and the one isn't even guaranteed to cover the rest? It's silly. These stocking stuffers are a bad idea. Holidays coming up. If you want to get someone scratch tickets because you want to give them that feeling, that rush of adrenaline, maybe you know someone who's a gambler like myself and you feel like giving me a scratch ticket. By the way, you can mail those in. But either way, if that's kind of what your deal is, the Christmas bundle is not the way to go. I don't know anyone who's won anything off of a bundle of any significance, but I do know several people who have won off of individual scratch tickets, including someone who won $500,000 on one scratch ticket that cost him $5. If you're gonna get scratch tickets, go to lesser known places. Go a little bit out and I find you win a little bit more. That's just me, but I think that's a better buy over the Christmas bundle. Just be wary of things like this. This is not the only trap that comes around in the holidays. You're going to see a lot of specials and promotional cards, promotional stuff like that. And that's just a money grab. That's a loss. There's no reason to buy into it. To be honest, if you really want a really good stocking stuffer for someone, I recommend Tata's Hot Sauce and Jerk Rub. It's amazing, and it's a guaranteed winner in that stocking stuffer. Speaking of guaranteed winners, It is super rare that there's ever a guaranteed winner. So what you want to do is try and better your odds. Now we spoke about this before about taking lesser points to win. So if you're sure a team is going to win, but the spread is let's say 7, you can take them at maybe 4 instead to kind of clinch your odds. However, in a lot of sports, a lot of things can happen, and sometimes spreads get ridiculous. Anytime you're seeing a double digit spread, you're counting on that other team to really just trounce them. It, I mean, it's not always the best thing. We've seen underdogs come through. Teams that are supposed to lose by 10 or 12 come out to win by 10 or 12. I mean, sometimes games just go that way. So if you see a game that you see the spread is very high, it's not a bad thing to take the team you think will lose because it gives you more opportunities to win. If you take a team that's, let's say, plus 10, not only do they have to win, but they have to have that 10 or, well, 10 and a half more points to actually, for you to win. Whereas if you take the team that's actually minus 10, they can lose. They can lose by up to 10 points. They can win. It gives you 3 options to win rather than just the one. So sometimes, if you're in a sport that's got a lot of turmoil, like let's say hockey, basketball, baseball, where they play so many games, where really 1 or 2 game streaks aren't really going to be that relevant in the grander scheme of things, taking those extra points on the losing team can actually be much more beneficial than reducing your points on the winning team. That being said, you gotta always keep things in perspective. A lot of those points, especially when you can take advantage of them, is right at the beginning of a season. For example, I want to point out basketball. Now, the Toronto Raptors won last year. They were an amazing team. The whole city of Toronto is behind them. The whole country of Canada is behind them. And they started this season with a nice big push. Popularity's on there. The points were in their favor. But the team isn't the same. Every year, these teams change their players. They change coaches, they change strategies. Because of that, you can't take them as the same odds they were last year. However, when you actually look at the odds, that's what the odd makers are doing. So, in a lot of cases, your best time to take advantage of those negative points is right at the beginning of a season. You take a team that was heavily favored and traded away a key guy or two, and then you bet against them right at the beginning of the next season. It'll help you boost up your points and your budget, and at the same time, because it's the beginning of the next season, there's not a lot to go on other than the previous season. So taking those points against them can work out in your favor a lot of times. Unfortunately, this isn't the way that it works for all sports. If you follow our podcast, mine specifically, you're going to notice I do a lot of UFC coverage and that we talk a lot about fights. Well, in fights, people say you're only as good as your last one. I kind of agree to that to a certain point, but it's also a fight. I've seen people take out people who they should not have been able to beat at all. I mean, there's Alistair Overeem just lost last week. He had won the entire fight up until I think it was something like 8 or 10 seconds left to go and then was knocked out. This is a guy who was supposed to go in. It was a heavyweight fight. He was supposed to go in. He's a better striker. He should have had the advantage the whole fight, which he kind of did. But in the end, he got knocked out. I mean, in fights like this, I want to emphasize anything can happen. So we're going to talk about props. When you're looking at heavyweight fights, you're not looking at who's going to win. You're looking at knockout or not. You have guys like Derek Lewis who go in, and if he doesn't win by knockout, he ain't winning. It's one of those situations where it's just you have to take what the odds are for that demographic. You don't see heavyweights winning by submission. You don't see lightweights winning by knockout. There are certain props that you can take that will better your odds to help reduce things. I mean, to help reduce your chances. There's certain people who fight certain ways, and you can kind of depend on that. You saw with my call with Damian Maia against Ben Askren, where I thought it would come right down to the ground game, who's better, and it was Maia. But the majority of that fight was standing on the feet. Anything can happen. Fights can go a totally different way, but things are more likely to happen than not. For example, we got Conor McGregor coming up against Donald Cerrone. These are two strikers. They're both very capable veterans. And I feel like when you go into that fight, you could bet Conor McGregor most likely to win. I think that's possible. Donald Cerrone's no slouch. He's knocked out his fair share of veterans. People bigger than Conor when you look at records. So is it out of the realm of possibility? No. But you have two guys who are going to come in, strike, and bang, and are known for finishing. Bet the prop that the fight won't go the distance. It's things like that that will help us get to that point that we need to. Speaking of props, some props are more obvious than others. One thing I want to talk about that's going to be really huge is, and just an example of this field, is Gatorade. All right, so when we're talking about the NFL and the Super Bowl, we're going to be talking two teams going head to head. Okay, these teams at the end of the game are going to dump that Gatorade or not. Okay, so you can pick the colors. When we're talking like Super Bowl, there's a million props. Everything from kicks to how many catches, how many yards, how many points, what song is going to be played during halftime, what color shoes they're going to wear when you come out. These are crazy bets that you can take on anything. So you know what? Get in on it. There's some good odds, especially when you have two teams playing against each other. If you've got a team whose color is blue and another team whose color is red, what color do you think the Gatorades are going to be? Blue or red? Those odds are going to pay more than one. If they pay anything more than two, double up on your tickets. Take those two colors. They're gonna pour Gatorade at the end. That's tradition. The other option is they don't pour it at all, and that usually pays 7 or 8 times your money. Take that too. I mean, it happens. There are certain things that are just a little bit more obvious when you start thinking a step or two ahead. If a team's color is red and you think they're gonna win, bet on the Gatorade to be red. It's not going to be blue if that's the opponent's color. Why would they choose that? Come on, guys. It's one of those things. So you just got to take it as it is. You have to make sure that you're making sure that you're not taking losses, that you're increasing your odds, that you're picking the obvious choices. If you do that, you can come away with fewer losses. Combine that with the strategy of taking more wins over different sports, you're going to come across with many more wins. This is just simple talking. I don't think that anyone out there listening would debate that a team that's color is red is going to have red Gatorade poured on them at the end. If that pays 3, bet on it. If the opponent's pays 2, bet on both. It's a straight win. There's no point in taking other colors. You're going to see neon green, blue. It doesn't matter. All these others are fake bets. There's reasons they're there because they know that people are going to bet on these crazy colors because they know people are odds hungry. They'll put neon green as paying 10. Neither team is neon green. Who's going to have neon green? Nobody. But they know some people are going to bet on that. The casinos are going to cash in. So, in conclusion, if you take a look at a lot of these bets, a lot of these available options that are out there, a lot of them are there just to buy you in as a sucker, to bet on the hype, to bet on the feelings that you have. You have to take that completely out and really bet on what is common sense. If you know you're going to buy something that has a loser in it, don't do it. If you know that you have 4 ways to win instead of 1, take the 4 ways. If you know that anything can happen, don't bet on definitives. Bet on odds. If you know that something is more likely to happen than others, just eliminate those other possibilities. Placing better bets, avoiding traps, and avoiding the hype is going to be your best way to stay in the winning column. That being said, I want to give a special thanks again to our sponsors, Tata's Hot Sauce Emporium. Go check him out. Buy his hot sauce while it lasts. It won't be there for long. Tell him that we sent you. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck on your bets.